meant to be a father. I didn't have the examples, not to blame it on, my father did the best he knew how to do with what he had to work with. So I just felt at a loss. And I began to, during the movement I had met a Christian woman, her name was Faith Whitney. And I'd be in jail or in drug programs, and she'd always write me, get a Bible in. No one else could get in, but she could always get in. And she'd ask me, what do you think about this chapter here? And I'd read it. I'd have to answer. She was an older woman I had respect for. But she had begun planting seeds in me. We'd be on the green downtown getting ready to have demonstrations. The Panthers would be there, all the black organizations. And we have black on it. We're tough and rough guys with scars and straight people. And we're going to get on the platform. Of course, we're going to tell it like it is. We're going to cuss, tell the police chief off, the mayor and all this stuff. And she'd come in the midst of us. And I'd hate to see her coming because she'd come right to me and she'd say, now, Fred, we're not going to do any cussing today. There's women and children out here, you know, and, you know, mess up my thing, you know, because I got to be tough, you know. And she'd have us hold hands and say, okay, let's all pray now, you know. And the guys in our group, they'd pray, you know.
So we're looking at a man that has come from a place of, you said you didn't have no confidence in yourself, no trust, no belief, and you've come to a place now where you are now a pastor of a church, you're an apostle. God have visited you, have blessed you, and given you gifts that you're ministering in the Spirit to help transform people's lives. And we understand one of your main focus of your ministry is on inner healing.
Yes.
So how did you come from this place of unworthiness? You know, so many people today feel that they are so unworthy they can't do anything. How do you come from a place of unworthiness to take a position in people's lives and to be able to go deep within and help them make these transformations? How do you do that?
The main thing for me was after I accepted Christ, I prayed a lot of hours, 10 hours a day sometimes on the weekends I prayed 20 hours. And the Lord would use me. But the thing was, I still felt like I wasn't worth anything. And I kept crying out, and then the Lord began to start teaching me, telling me about my damaged emotions and how even though I was in my 40s, 50s, it was still affecting me today. And that when you accept Christ, yes, old things pass away, things become new, but it's a process. And that some things, Jesus in his word speaks about when he's dealing with a young man that needed to be delivered, and his father brought him to the disciples, and the disciples couldn't cast the demon out of this young man. And Jesus, of course, did, and his disciples got him to the side, and they said, how come we couldn't cast this demon out? And he said, this kind comes out by fasting and praying. And that made me realize there's other kind that come out another way.
Oh, yes.
And that's through a word of knowledge and deliverance and healing of those hurts and wounds, and then counsel and ministering to those situations, which can be very time consuming. And in the church today, when people have problems, if they tend to linger around, what people will say, well, you need to fast, you need to pray, you know, and you can fast and pray till the rapture. Some of them don't go that way. There's another way it has to come. And God has allowed me to live the way I live, to go through all the stuff, the damaged emotions and all this other stuff, so that he knew one day he would save me and begin to formulate a ministry based on deliverance and inner healing. And we've taken this to Africa, different places all around the country, different parts of the world.
You have been all over the world, haven't you, with your ministry? From such a small beginning, just to stand up at a Parent Teachers Association meeting and step out on faith. It's wonderful, because God will use you.
Amen.
God will use you no matter where you are or how deep you think you are or how out in the world you think you are.
Amen.
He's going to call you in. He's going to call you in if we listen. If we listen to his voice. But there is a formula, as you say. There is a formula, and it might be prayer, it may be fasting, it may be meditation, getting quiet. You may find it in whatever religion that you're practicing, but you have to listen for his voice, don't you? You do have to hear him.
You know, one of the things, Apostle Harris, that come to mind is some people, you know, have different situations, like yours is, you know, maybe unique. But can everybody really be healed inwardly? Can this inner healing be applied to every person?
Jesus is present to do a total job on every individual. if we'll let him.
All right.
But a lot of times people are not steered, or they're not brought into the right environment where people are experienced or have gone through this, so that they know how to help effectively, or how to get quiet enough before the Lord to hear what he wants you to say or do to another person. You know, we see a person with a problem, right away we're ready to just pray for them. And most of the time we're praying for the outward symptoms. We're not praying for the root cause of what is causing the real outward problems. So that's why you don't see, I feel you don't see a lot of Christians healed. People step out meaningfully trying to do the right thing, but not really being knowledgeable or receiving the right information to know how to move. And in these last days, it's going to be so important for pastors and Christians to be knowledgeable of inner healing with the kind of problems and atrocities that are coming upon the world, because it's going to create bedlam inside of people. When you believe in God and expect him to move, but he don't move. You know, then you begin to limit him or see him in a place where he's not, but it's not so. It's only because you don't have enough information, or you're not being steered in the right direction.
So what do you say to a person out there who's hurting? Maybe don't even know they're hurting. You know, people,
I didn't know I was hurting.
You know, they feel, well, this is how I am, this is how it should be, I'm going to work, you know, I'm paying the bills, and I'm just trying to do everything I can. What do you say to a person who don't even know that they're hurting and they might be inside? How do they reach to you or somebody else that could help them find out what that hurt is and minister to them to be healed? How would that process begin?
I think the key is, the word says that he that covers sin cannot prosper. And I think one of the biggest problems is that we haven't learned how to be honest, especially Christians, as much as we need to be, and admit, hey, you know, I'm saved, I've been saved all these years, but I'm really not that happy.
It's true.
You know, I have to say that. I love my wife, I love my children, you know, but sometimes I get fed up with them, I get fed up with myself, I get fed up with God, you know, and I have to say that, Lord, now I'm feeling this way. What do I need to do? Then he begins to move. It starts with being honest. And a lot of times people are afraid to be honest, because if I admit this and that, then I'm not in this place. You know, I'm a pastor, so I need to stand before the people strong all the time. No infallibilities, you know, strong, together, all-knowing, you know. The Lord told me when we started this ministry, he said, preach and teach from a position of weakness.
Praise God.
Always share your weaknesses. Because realistically, we're just men. And all the positive things that happen out of us is the Spirit of God. It's not us. You know, and the more we submit ourselves to him, the more he can do through us.
He can come through.
Praise God.
It is to hear and
So God has
feel.
blessed you with a ministry that anybody who's hurting out there, who has a need spiritually, naturally, physically, emotionally, whether they know it or not, this man of God has a ministry that God could use him to effectively help you transform your life and change your life. So we strongly recommend that people get in touch with your ministry. Tell us where you are, your church, the name, the location, so they could reach out and get in touch with you.
We have a church in Detroit. It's on McNichols, 18921 West McNichols. And that's 6 blocks west of the Southfield Freeway on 6 Mile. And we have what is called inner healing meetings every Friday. We've been having them for probably 18, 19 years. And we also do some things in Canada. We have a church in Pontiac. We're doing some things in West Africa, Ghana, and also New Haven, Connecticut.
What is the church called?
The church is called Church of the Risen Christ Ministries International.
Praise God. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us here today. We love you.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
you.
having me.